In this course, we'll define the 4 functions of management. Management is getting work done through others. Managers serve their companies well when they plan, organize, lead, and control. Planning involves determining organizational goals and a means for achieving them. Planning is one of the best ways to improve performance. It encourages people to work harder, to work for extended periods, to engage in behaviors directly related to goal accomplishment, and to think about better ways to do their jobs. But most importantly, companies that plan have larger profits and faster growth than companies that don't. Organizing is deciding when decisions will be made, who will do the jobs and tasks, and who will work for whom in the company. In other words, organizing is about determining how to get things done. Our third management function, leading, involves inspiring and motivating workers to work hard to achieve organizational goals. Leading is all about influence. The last management function, controlling, is monitoring progress towards goal achievement and taking corrective action when progress isn't being made. The basic control process involves setting standards to achieve goals, comparing actual performance to those standards, and then making changes to return performance to those standards. Management issues are fundamental to any organization. How we plan to get things done, organize the company to be efficient and effective, lead and motivate employees, and put controls in place to make sure that our plans are followed and our goals are met. Good management is basic to starting a business, growing a business, and maintaining a business after it's achieved some measure of success. Management is about getting work done through others. Top managers hold positions such as Chief Executive Officer, CEO, Chief Operating Officer, COO, Chief Financial Officer, CFO, and Chief Information Officer, CIO, and are responsible for the overall direction of the organization. Top managers have 3 major responsibilities. First, they are responsible for creating a context for change. After that vision or mission is set, the second responsibility of top managers is to develop employees' commitments to and ownership of the company's performance. That is, top managers are responsible for creating employee buy-in. Third, top managers must create a positive organizational culture through language and action, actively managing internal communication. Top managers impart company values, strategies, and lessons through what they do and say to others both inside and outside the company. Indeed, no matter what they communicate, it's critical for them to send and reinforce clear, consistent messages. Middle managers hold positions such as plant manager, regional manager, or divisional manager. They're responsible for setting objectives consistent with top management's goals and for planning and implementing subsequent strategies for achieving those objectives. Or, as one middle manager put it, a middle manager is the implementer of the company's strategy who figures out the how to do the what. First-line managers hold positions such as office manager, shift supervisor, or department manager. The primary responsibility of first-line managers is to manage the performance of entry-level employees who are directly responsible for producing a company's goods and services. Thus, first-line managers are the only managers who don't supervise other managers. The responsibilities of first-line managers include monitoring, teaching, and short-term planning. The fourth kind of manager is the team leader. This relatively new kind of management job developed as companies shifted to self-managing teams, which, by definition, have no formal supervisor. In traditional management hierarchies, first-line managers are responsible for the performance of non-managerial employees and have the authority to hire and fire workers, make job assignments, and control procedures. In the new structure, the teams themselves perform nearly all the functions performed by first-line managers under traditional hierarchies. Team leaders are primarily responsible for facilitating team activities towards accomplishing a goal. This doesn't mean that team leaders are responsible for team performance. They aren't. The team is. Although 4 types of managers engage in planning, organizing, leading, and controlling, if you were to follow them around during a typical day on the job, you'd probably not use those terms to describe what they actually do. Managers talk to people, gather and give information, and make decisions. Furthermore, these three major roles can be subdivided into sub-roles. Interpersonal roles. More than anything else, management jobs are people-intensive. In fulfilling the interpersonal role of management, managers perform three sub-roles: figurehead, leader, and liaison. In the figurehead role, managers perform ceremonial duties such as greeting company visitors, speaking at the opening of a new facility, or representing a company at a community luncheon to support local charities. In the leader role, managers motivate and encourage workers to accomplish organizational objectives. One way managers act as leaders is to establish challenging goals. In the liaison role, managers deal with people outside their units. Studies consistently indicate that managers spend as much time with outsiders as they do with their own subordinates and their own bosses. Not only do managers spend most of their time in face-to-face contact with others, they spend much of it obtaining and sharing information. Mitzberg found that managers in his study spent 40% of their time giving and getting information from others. In this regard, management can be viewed as gathering information by scanning the business environment and listening to others in face-to-face conversations, processing that information, and then sharing it with people both inside and outside the company. Mintzberg described three informational sub-roles: monitor, disseminator, and spokesperson. In the monitor role, managers scan their environment for information, actively contact others for information, and because of their personal contacts, receive a great deal of unsolicited information. In the disseminator role, managers share the information they've collected with their subordinates and others in the company. In contrast to the disseminator role, in which managers distribute information to employees inside the company, managers in the spokesperson role share information with people outside their departments or organizations. Mintzberg found that obtaining and sharing information is not an end in itself. Obtaining and sharing information with people inside and outside a company is useful to managers because it helps them make good decisions. According to Mintzberg, managers engage in four decisional sub-roles: entrepreneur, disturbance handler, resource allocator, and negotiator. In the entrepreneurial role, managers adapt themselves, their subordinates, and their units to change. In the disturbance handler role, managers respond to pressures and problems so severe that they demand immediate attention and action. In the resource allocator role, managers decide who will get what resources and how many resources they will get. In the negotiator role, managers negotiate schedules, projects, goals, outcomes, resources, and employee raises. Manager roles and sub-roles provide a framework for planning, leading, organizing, and controlling. When companies look for employees who would be good managers, they look for individuals who have technical skills, human skills, conceptual skills, and the motivation to manage. Technical skills are the specialized procedures, techniques, and knowledge required to get the job done. Technical skills are most important for team leaders and lower-level managers because they supervise the workers who produce products and services to customers. Team leaders and first-line managers need technical knowledge and skills to train new employees to help employees to solve problems. Technical knowledge and skills are also needed to troubleshoot problems that employees can't handle. Technical skills become less important as managers rise through the managerial ranks, but they're still important. Human skills can be summarized as the ability to work well with others. Managers with human skills work effectively within groups, encourage others to express their thoughts and feelings, are sensitive to others' needs and viewpoints, and are good listeners and communicators. Human skills are equally important at all levels of management, from team leaders to CEOs. However, because lower-level managers spend much of their time solving technical problems, upper-level managers are typically spending more time dealing directly with people. On average, first-line managers spend around 57% of their time with people, but that percentage increases to 63% for middle managers and 78% for top managers. Conceptual skills are the ability to see the organization as a whole, to understand how the different parts of the company affect each other, and to recognize how the company fits into or is affected by its external environment, such as the local community, social and economic forces, customers, and the competition. Good managers have to be able to recognize, understand, and reconcile multiple complex problems and perspectives. In other words, managers have to be smart. In fact, intelligence makes so much difference for managerial performance that managers with above average intelligence typically outperform managers of average intelligence by approximately 48%. Clearly, companies need to be careful to promote smart workers into management. Conceptual skills increase in importance as managers rise through the managerial hierarchy. Good management involves far more than intelligence, however. For example, making the department genius a manager can be a disastrous choice if that genius lacks technical skills, human skills, or one other factor such as motivation to manage. Motivation to manage is an assessment of how motivated employees are to interact with supervisors, participate in competitive situations, behave assertively towards others, tell others what to do, reward good behavior and punish poor performance, perform actions that are highly visible to others, and handle and organize administrative tasks. Managers typically have a stronger motivation to manage than their subordinates, and managers at higher levels usually have a stronger motivation to manage than managers at lower levels. In other words, we can learn just as much from what managers shouldn't do as from what they should do. Here's the top 10 mistakes that managers make. First, they're insensitive to others, abrasive, intimidating, or have a bullying style. Number 2, they're cold, aloof, or arrogant. Third, they betray trust. Fourth, they're overly ambitious, thinking of the next job and playing politics. Fifth, there's specific performance problems with the business. Number 6, they're unable to delegate or build a team. 7, unable to staff effectively. 8, unable to think strategically. 9, unable to adapt to a boss with a different style. And number 10, they're overdependent on an advocate or a mentor. The best managers learn from both the mistakes of others and their own. Companies that invest in their people will create long-lasting competitive advantages that are difficult for other companies to duplicate. Let's take a look at several great management practices. Employment security. Employment security is the ultimate form of commitment companies can make to their workers. Employees can innovate and increase company productivity without fearing the loss of their jobs. Selective hiring. If employees are the basis for a company's competitive advantage and those employees have employment security, then the company needs to aggressively recruit and selectively screen applicants. Self-managed teams and decentralization. Self-managed teams are responsible for their own hiring, purchasing, job assignments, and production. Self-managed teams can often produce enormous increases in productivity through increased employee commitment and creativity. Decentralization allows employees who are closest to and most knowledgeable about problems, production, and customers to make timely decisions. Decentralization increases employee satisfaction and commitment. High wages contingent on organizational performance. High wages are needed to attract and retain talented workers and to indicate that the organization values its workers. Employees, like company founders, shareholders, and managers, need to share in the financial rewards when a company is successful. Why? Because employees have a financial stake in their companies, they are more likely to take a long-run view of the business and think like business owners. Training and skill development. Like a high-tech company that spends millions of dollars to upgrade computers or research and development labs, a company whose competitive advantage is based on its people must invest in the training and skill development of those employees. Reduction of status differences. A company should treat everyone, no matter what the job, as an equal. There's no reserved parking spaces. Everyone eats in the same cafeteria and has similar benefits. The result is improved communication as employees focus on problems and solutions rather than on how they're less valued than their managers. Sharing information. If employees are to make decisions that are good for the long term success of the organization, they need to be given information about costs, finances, productivity, development times, and strategies that was previously known only by company managers. Great management practices impact competitive advantage.